Hello everyone, I'm VortexTCG and today I've got a brand new gameplay series featuring my MetalGarurumon X deck, which I've already showcased on the channel, so please do go check that video out if you haven't. But in this gameplay video I'm going to be playing against my friend Fraser, and he's going to be playing MirageGao, which I think in a lot of cases is just the better MetalGarurumon deck that isn't called MetalGarurumon. It essentially does everything that my deck does, but better. So very interesting matchup here. He ends up going into the Gao and then plays the blue memory boost, and then I just play the Gabumon and then go into the Gabumon X Antibody in raising here, just because I think at this point I just wanted to make sure that I had a rookie, so if I want to promote I have access to do it. Otherwise I could have maybe done that with the Gabumon and got a little bit lucky, but I think with my luck, probably not a good idea. So apologies for the camera here. I don't know why it's flickering so much. I haven't had an issue with my camera before like this. Bit weird. So he goes into the Gaogamon, I think it's called, which allows him to bounce a level 3 to his hand, which is very, very frustrating. Well, it's not frustrating. I still get the draw. Well, I get to search potentially later on with it, which is quite nice. He then goes into the Nikolai to pass the turn, and yep, I think here I don't end up promoting because I feel like if I promote, I think it ends up, you know, just not being worthwhile because I can't really make a massive OTK push. But we'll see what I end up doing here. I've got a pretty good setup with the Davis on the field, which I think is alright. I promote the Gabumon X Antibody and then go into the Garurumon here, which then, you know, I mean, I have access to the X Antibody, I assume, if I'm doing this, which I apparently don't. So I go into the X Antibody option card underneath the Garurumon here. I'm just checking the Nikolai effect, if it gains memory or how it gets jamming. I just promote, or not promote, but go into the MetalGarurumon X Antibody to bounce the level 4 to his hand. So just providing some disruption because I feel like he won't be able to get into a big stack this turn, and it allows me to develop a board ready for my next turn. He then plays the other Gaogamon, which allows us to play a Thomas for free, and then plays the Thomas for free, which allows us to draw one. This is the unsuspend one from BT4, I believe. He swings at security and hits a Gabumon X Antibody, which is unfortunate. Well, it doesn't matter because it has jamming because of the Nikolai, and then passes the turn to me. So I go into a Gabumon here in raising, and now I feel like I've got pretty decent setup with what I can do here. It really depends. What I will say is that the WereGaruru hit, the promo Garuru hit actually is very nasty for this deck, because in this situation, I could probably end up going through like 4 or 5 of his security essentially, which I can't do here anymore essentially. So I end up swinging into the security with the MetalGarurumon X here, and then I'm just waiting for the security check, and it hits a level 3, so it's not that bad, and it passed the turn to me, so, or to my opponent even. So he's at 1 memory here, which is, you know, pretty good for me because it essentially just means he doesn't really have an answer. So he ends up just playing the Thomas to pass the turn, giving me back 3. And at this point I'm a bit worried because I feel like he has access to a massive turn, and one of the awkward things about playing MetalGarurumon is the fact that you do draw a lot of cards when playing in this deck. So it kind of sucks because you're playing into the game plan of the MirageGao deck. So I think on paper this is just like a very terrible matchup. But if MetalGarurumon is able to outspeed MirageGao, I think you have a chance of winning. But as you can see here, not really happening. And I swing in a security and it hits the burst mode, which is the worst case scenario for me, I think. It really depends on his hand, obviously, but I end up just passing here by going into the Cool Boy just to try and prepare for my next turn, and I felt like at this time he wouldn't be able to go through it all, essentially. So here I end up, he ends up going into the level 5, plays another the Thomas again to pass the turn. So here I promote, and I feel like this is my only turn to essentially do a lot here. What I do here is that I go into the Sagittarius mode. You might be wondering why I decided not to go into the other one that I just had, and the reason why is because of the draw. It draw one on Digievolution, and I think I was one off from being close to like 12. I know it doesn't really make much of a difference in this situation, but just in case that does happen, and the card actually matters, it's not great whatsoever. Here my opponent's fine with this, but essentially I forgot to just put the X Antibody. I already declared it essentially, so I go into the MetalGarurumon X Antibody here, swing, unsuspend, and then gain the memory and the draw card from a cool boy. And I'm still at 1 memory here, but I think at this point, now that I've hit the blue memory boost into security, I don't feel very confident going forward anymore because, well, essentially he's got everything he needs. He's got all the memory he needs, he's got the tamers that he needs. Just feels very unlucky on my part. So I swing again, just see how everything goes, and it goes into a a Mac Gao, sorry. So he promotes, and obviously, you know, he's got his combo essentially going here. So we're going to see him go into the MirageGao, gain some memory back, and then is able to add the top card of my security to my hand, triggering its effect to, I believe, gain some memory, and also draw some cards with the inheritables here. I think he's just checking the memory gain he has here before he goes into a massive swing turn, essentially. So I've essentially just got to survive 4 swings here, which could definitely be hard, but I already know he has the burst mode, because why wouldn't he? So I'm shuffling my hand here, just getting ready for the return effect essentially. So I think he's just making sure that he actually has enough to go on here. So he goes into the MirageGao. I'm going to put the card up here because it's a proxy, but he only needed 1. He ordered 1 and it still hasn't arrived, so he has the others but not just 1 of them, which is very frustrating. But yeah, so essentially he's able to bounce my guy back and then gain a bunch of memory, and then he's able to also get additional effects. I think here he was just asking like, oh, will the draw effect also trigger at the same time? So I think I said no, because I think you can trigger it whenever you want, I think, maybe. Not 100% sure, but don't think it really matters at this point. So he ends up just like taking back half my cards, unsuspends, taps the effect, and then is able to do it again, return the bottom card to unsuspend, swing again, unsuspend, and then swing for game. We then get into game 2, and I get to start off here. I play a Gabumon, and then I end up playing a Davis just to do some searching. And at this point I'm a little bit, I don't think my hand was good at this point, so I end up just taking the Garurumon here, just so I have a cheap evolution if I need it. So my opponent then goes into the Gaomon. I believe this is the one that allows us to both draw a card. And then he plays his own Gaogamon, doing some searching, adds the Thomas and trashes the rest. And then he, I believe, ends up going into the Gaogamon, ends up playing the Thomas. So yeah, definitely a very strong start for my opponent, got a lot more value, and this is one of the things that I if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't really enjoy about the current game. You should obviously be punished if you're giving your opponent a lot of memory, but when it's like first turn and you can do stuff like this after like on your first turn, I feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't, it feels like you're just getting way too much power for essentially going first on your second. Sometimes, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the current like power levels of this game at the moment, but maybe that's just because I feel like every like deck at this point has like a level 4 or a level 5 that just plays a tamer. I swing a security, and of course I hit the Nikolai, which is obviously terrible. What makes it even worse is the fact that my opponent only plays 1 of it in their deck. And so I've seen it both games, and it does end up making a bit of a difference because the jamming obviously does help quite a bit, especially when they're going for their swing turn. And also, you know, just gaining the additional memory is very frustrating. So he swings into the Garurumon, and I know that I made a misplay here. I definitely shouldn't have promoted this early because, I mean, I don't really have anything to lose or gain anyways from promoting super early. So this is definitely a misplay on my behalf, but as you can see, like, my opponent has just got so much advantage now, and it's going to be very hard to actually keep up in this game. Especially as he's essentially got 3 Tamers out, he can return 1 and just do so much on his turn if he does get to a burst mode. So I'm just checking my hand, see if there's any options that I can do to pass the turn. And I think here I end up just playing a Rookie. And the reason why I play a Rookie here is just because I want to get the search. It puts him to 3, and I know it's going to get bounced anyways. But maybe I shouldn't have done that, because he does gain a memory for bouncing a Digimon through Nikolai. So maybe it wasn't a good idea. But for me, I mean, I just want to get some cards going, so if I ever do get to that next turn, I'll be able to make more of an impact on it. So he goes into the Sakyomon, I think it is, goes into the Mirage, adds the Gabu back to the hand, gains a bunch of memory from doing so, and then, you know, I feel like I'm back to square one. But if I could survive this turn, maybe I could do some stuff. He swings into security, and then he was like, oh shit, that was a misplay. And so he goes to the MirageGao instead. Feel free to complain about him in the comment section down below. But no, it's fine. I don't have any complaints about it, because I don't really care, if I'm being perfectly honest. When you're when your locals only gives away like a pack for getting like second and third, and 2 packs for getting first, I couldn't really care less, if I'm being perfectly honest. So he swings with the Mirage, puts 1 back, puts it down, swings, does a security check, unsuspends, swings again, and then unsuspends and swings for game.